Well, Jen, it's really great to be here with you today. Thanks so much for taking some time. It's been several years. You're one of our friends and family, and we're just incredibly grateful for the relationship that we've forged. But let's go back in history a little bit. What was it that first enticed you about becoming part of Connex?
I don't know, I got a random call one day, right? And they're like, hey, this is what Connex is and this is what we do. And I was at a point in my career where I'm like, oh, it'd be really great to have some other like-minded HR professionals that are out there to engage in different conversations, as well as, you know, the partnerships that Connex really established with different vendors, different organizations across the board, and not to mention just the staff is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's break that down a little bit. There's a lot that we do for our members because we know in HR it's an incredibly challenging space, and I just think of the 10 years that we've known one another, what's happened in HR. Let's talk about the community.
Sure.
How important it is to engage with your fellow peers and knowledge share, given that there's so many opportunities out there for you to do that. And yet what I find is when I talk to a lot of our executives, it's shocking how much they don't have the time to do it. And quite often the conversations seem to be very static. They really aren't things that provide value to them. So what has that community been like?
No, for me, the community's been really helpful, right? Especially if you're talking about specific niche topics, right? And different people are experiencing. So like you mentioned, we've known each other for a decade, long time. And what was happening in the world in 2015 is very different than what's happening in 25 and 2020. And so, navigating all the different geopolitical environments, navigating COVID, it's been great to go on that journey with other leaders out there that were trying to navigate that same or similar scenarios. It was also really interesting for me in particular, like most of my background had been global industrial manufacturing, but I found that a lot of the peer groups were in completely different spaces, healthcare and the professional services, et cetera. And so initially it was a little bit rocky for me to find some other people in that industrial manufacturing space, but then we had multiple conversations. You guys brought more people in with that background, and it just kind of, I think, further enriched the engagement for everybody, right? You can learn a lot from outside of your own industry, and I'm an example of that, pivoting careers as well.
Yeah. Well, and now you're in insurance. You went from the industrial manufacturing
into wealth management, insurance, reinsurance.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's what's great that we find with the community is that there is a lot that you can leverage when you are industry, when you have like and kind.
Right.
However, what we find about people is people are people. And
right, they're industry agnostic,
right? That's exactly right. They're industry agnostic. So, is there a story or an application of like a member or someone that you've developed a great relationship with that you've been able to knowledge share and help one another?
Yeah, there are a couple. Philip is one out of Milwaukee, greater Milwaukee area. He actually, even when I was in transition, at one point, I'm like reaching out and he's like, hey, what is it that you want to do? And he introduced me to some people as well. And, while it didn't necessarily work out, it was the fact that, we thought to help each other out.
Yeah.
And I would say, there are a handful, but Philip comes first and foremost to my attention because, he's one of the earlier participants in Connex as well.
Yeah.
And I guess Seth McCulley would be another Connex great that certainly have enjoyed navigating our respective areas. Like I actually helped get him his last opportunity. Someone had talked to me like, oh, would you be interested in this? I'm like, I'm not the right person for that, but I know who is. Yeah. And reached out to Seth and that ended up working out for him at that point in time.
Yeah, it's great. Whether it's job shifting or whether it's knowledge sharing, right? Trying to really understand what are your best practices, what things are you doing.
I think some of those panel discussions, right, where there's a specific topic that's coming up. I know I've moderated a couple of them, but just the deep subject matter expertise that different people have and the thoughtfulness of the questions that everyone that's attending like really contribute to it, I found to be really invaluable.
When you're a chief human resource officer, you're the top of the food chain. So where do you go for help, right? It's great that you can have that peer sharing, peer and knowledge sharing, which we do through the community, we do through our online sessions, think tanks, cohort groups. Another thing we do that you had mentioned earlier is, again, when you are the top of the food chain, everybody's knocking on your door, and you just only have so much bandwidth and time. Can you talk about the process of bringing in solutions to meet those needs through Connex? Like, what's different about it as opposed to the other things that are out there and available to you?
Well, one of the things that I really like about it is that it's curated, right? It's not, hey, you're going to go to a conference and there's going to be like 50 different vendors and select a vendor and you're going to go talk to them, right? This is curated up front in advance, really tailored to meet what your organization needs, and so it makes for much more meaningful discussions when you're live and in person with them. Even this morning had a great conversation, excited about the solutions that they could potentially bring to our organization, and it's nice to have those connection points like that. And for me, anyway, if you guys have if Connex has vetted these vendors, then I know they're going to be quality vendors.
Right. Awesome. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have? Anything?
Well, no. I think when the community has an opportunity to get together live and in person, it's even that much more valuable. I think the think tank sessions that happen as breakouts of the in-person events is always a good exchange of dialogue, and then just even that free time in between, right? You guys choreograph it in a way that you have enough time to network and to really have some of those side conversations that you don't always get a chance, like you said, right? We're busy.
Yeah.
Taking the time to be at an event for a couple of days, it's a commitment, right? It's a commitment on our part, it's a commitment on your part, and you guys make sure that it's a good experience.
Well, that's why we call it connection,
right?
Every pun intended.
Of course, Connexion.
The relationships that we build with both our members and our partners exists all throughout the year, right? We're doing meetings virtually, we're doing sessions and think tanks, and this, to your point, is not an opportunity for us to come together and just do some speed dating, right?
Right.
These are curated and they are intentional sessions, whether it's member to member in your think tanks, or whether you're sitting down with a potential partner who you might have had a conversation with previously and you continue, or a new vendor solution that might be of an interest to you. That again, it's not just a one-off occasion. It's something that we have collectively invested time toward, right?
100%. Well, and I think too, I've got a pretty good network of CHRO peers in a variety of different industries, and if something resonated with me here too, I'm not afraid to share that with my peers.
Right.
Of saying, hey, I was talking to this person, you might want to talk to them and make this happen.
That's a really great point, because I don't remember who it was. Somebody had mentioned that to me as well, that what they liked about Connex, and both of us were trying to pull names
I know,
out.
right?
This is what happens when you turn 30.
Again and again.
So is that in other places, people are a little bit closer to the vest, a bit more remiss, but because of the Connex family that we do curate, people are much more keen to open up and share their wares and best practices in a safe environment. Right?
And that's something that's been really interesting over the course of the last 10 years too. I think there was a point in time where people were definitely holding things much closer to their vest, and now, because everyone's navigating the same climate, it doesn't have to be a competition, right? I think at the end of the day, we all want what's best for our organizations to help them grow and be successful. We want what's best for our employees to help them grow and develop and be, their best version of themselves as well. And it lends itself to doing that. And I think it's become that much more collaborative over the last decade.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Jen, as always, it's a pleasure. Thanks for sitting down with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.